in the heart of a small town, where the streets were lined with old trees and the air was thick with the scent of nostalgia, I found myself seeking refuge in a quaint hostel. My name is Emily, and I was on a solo trip to explore the beauty of the countryside. Little did I know that my adventure would take a turn into the unknown, leading me to a night filled with unsettling encounters. It was a chilly evening when I arrived at the hostel, the sun dipping below the horizon, casting long shadows across the cobblestone path. I had planned this trip for months, eager to escape the monotony of my daily life. As I checked in, the receptionist greeted me with a warm smile, handing me a key to my room. The hostel was charming, with its rustic decor and cozy atmosphere, but there was an underlying eeriness that I couldn't quite shake off. As the night wore on, I settled into my room, the soft glow of the bedside lamp creating a comforting ambiance. I had just begun to unwind when I heard the sound of laughter coming from the common area. Curiosity piqued, I decided to join the other guests. That's when I met them, a couple, Sarah and Mark, who seemed to radiate warmth and excitement. They were traveling together, sharing stories of their adventures, and I felt an instant connection with them. As the clock struck midnight, the atmosphere in the hostel shifted. The laughter faded, replaced by an unsettling silence. I returned to my room, feeling a strange sense of unease. I brushed it off, convincing myself that it was just the quiet of the night. But as I lay in bed, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Around 3 a.m., I was jolted awake by a strange sound. It was faint at first, like the distant sound of water running. I sat up, straining to listen. The sound grew louder, and I realized it was coming from the bathroom down the hall. My heart raced as I glanced at the clock, the red numbers glaring back at me. Who could be taking a shower at this hour? I got out of bed, curiosity getting the better of me. I tiptoed down the dimly lit hallway, the floorboards creaking beneath my feet. As I approached the bathroom, the sound of water splashing echoed in the air. I hesitated, my hand hovering over the doorknob. Should I knock? What if someone was in trouble? Gathering my courage, I knocked softly on the door. "Hello? Is anyone in there?" I called out, my voice barely above a whisper. There was no response, just the continuous sound of water. I turned the knob, and to my surprise, the door swung open. The bathroom was empty, steam rising from the shower that was still running. Confusion washed over me. I stepped inside, peering into the shower stall. The water cascaded down, but there was no one there. I felt a chill run down my spine, and I quickly backed away, my heart pounding in my chest. I turned to leave when I noticed something strange, a towel hanging on the rack, perfectly folded, as if someone had just used it. I rushed back to my room, my mind racing. Had I imagined it? Was I just tired? I tried to convince myself that it was nothing, but the feeling of dread lingered. I lay in bed, pulling the covers tightly around me, hoping to drown out the sound of the running water. But it continued, a constant reminder of the strange occurrence. The next morning, I found Sarah and Mark in the common area, their laughter echoing off the walls. I joined them, trying to shake off the unease from the night before. They seemed oblivious to the strange happenings, sharing stories of their travels and dreams. But I couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding. As the day went on, I noticed little things that made me uneasy. The lights flickered occasionally, and the air felt heavy, as if something was watching us. I tried to brush it off, but the feeling grew stronger. I decided to confide in Sarah about the bathroom incident, hoping to find some comfort in her response. "Last night I heard water running in the bathroom, but no one was there," I said. my voice trembling slightly. Sarah looked at me, her expression shifting from amusement to concern. "That's strange," she replied, her brow furrowing. "I thought I heard something too, but I didn't think much of it. Maybe it's just an old plumbing issue." I nodded, but deep down I felt that it was more than that. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the room, I felt a sense of dread creeping in. I wanted to leave the hostel, but I had nowhere else to go. I was trapped in this strange place, surrounded by an unsettling atmosphere. That night, as the clock approached midnight again, I found myself unable to sleep. The events of the previous night replayed in my mind, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling when I heard it again, the sound of water running. My heart raced as I sat up, the familiar chill creeping down my spine. I glanced at the clock. It was 3 a.m. once more. I couldn't ignore it this time. I had to know what was happening. I slipped out of bed, my heart pounding in my chest as I made my way down the hallway. As I approached the bathroom, the sound of water was louder than before. I hesitated, my hand trembling as I reached for the doorknob. "Hello?" I called out, my voice shaking. "Is anyone in there?" No response, just the relentless sound of water. I opened the door, and once again, the bathroom was empty. The shower was running, steam filling the room, but there was no one there. Panic surged through me as I stepped back, my mind racing. I turned to leave when I caught a glimpse of something in the mirror, a shadow moving behind me. I spun around, but there was nothing there. My breath quickened, and I stumbled back, nearly tripping over the rug. I needed to get out of there. I rushed back to my room, locking the door behind me. I could hear my heart pounding in my ears, drowning out the sound of the water. The next morning, I packed my things in a frenzy, determined to leave the hostel. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, and the strange occurrences were too much to bear. As I checked out, I noticed Sarah and Mark sitting in the common area, their laughter echoing off the walls once more. "Hey, are you leaving?" Sarah asked, her voice cheerful. "Yeah, I need to go," I replied, forcing a smile. I didn't want to share my fears with them. I didn't want to ruin their fun. As I stepped outside, the fresh air hit me like a wave of relief. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight lift off my shoulders. But as I turned to leave, I glanced back at the hostel. The windows were dark, and for a brief moment, I thought I saw a figure standing in the bathroom watching me. I shook my head, trying to dismiss the thought. I had to move on. I couldn't let fear control me. But as I drove away, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was still lingering in that old hostel, waiting for the next unsuspecting guest to arrive. Weeks later, I received a message from Sarah. She and Mark had decided to stay another night at the hostel. "You should have stayed. It was so much fun," she wrote. But as I read her message, a chill ran down my spine. I couldn't help but wonder if they had experienced the same strange occurrences I had, and deep down, I knew I would never return to that place. Some mysteries are better left unsolved, and some shadows are better left in the dark.